everybody, welcome back. Today I'm going to focus on the muffin method of making muffins. This is going to be a small batch lemon poppy seed muffin. I've got my oven already preheated to 375 degrees, so the next step is for me to get my pan together. So I'm going to spray it with some pan relief. Even though I am using the liners, this will help that if we get that glorious muffin top, that they won't all stick to the pan, and then when I try to get them off, I mangle them a little bit. Remember, we want to have beautiful, saleable quality. Right, I'm going to just spray that. And then put in my liners. This recipe says it yields about 7, but we're going to see if we can maybe just make them a little bit fuller and just make 6. So I'm going to set my pan aside, and I have all my mise en place of ingredients together. The only thing that I didn't do in preparation for this lesson today was to zest the lemon. And that's because a lot of people are sometimes unsure of what it means with zest. So I wanted to show that and explain about it. I'm going to go ahead and use something called a microplane. It's got tiny little sharp teeth on it. It's excellent for a lot of different jobs, whether I wanted to grate a little hard cheese or take like the whole nutmeg and get a little fresh nutmeg in something. Frequently use this to grate fresh ginger and garlic into all of my recipes, but it's also superb for doing the zest of a lemon. Now we really want to get just the outside of the lemon, the peel, the zest. We don't want to get the white portion of it, which is called the pith. The pith can be very bitter. We're looking for just the peel. We want to have that color. We want to have that burst of flavor. And above all, we want to have that lemon essence oil that's in there. So I'm going to pull the lemon across the microplane and then turning it each time so that I'm just getting the outside skin. I'm not getting that white pith. I don't know if you can quite see it, but there's definitely a difference. And I'm just going to use the zest from one lemon. So bear with me for a second while I zest this little guy down. When I'm done with it, I don't have to throw the lemon away. I haven't used the juice inside. So I'll probably use some of the juice later on when I make a delicious glaze for the outside of the baked muffins. You can see I'm just turning it every so often, trying to get as much of it off as possible. And be mindful, this little guy can just sharpen up and hurt your knuckles, so just be careful when you're using it. And if you would happen to injure yourself in the process, be sure to quickly go rinse off, sanitize, and put a Band-Aid on over yourself. All right, I think I've pretty much gotten it all off there. I'm just going to give it a little tap to get any remaining bits off of there. You can see you get quite a bit from one lemon. Okay, an alternative to zesting with a microplane, since a lot of people don't have this at their house, you can simply take a regular vegetable peeler, and using your processor, you could then process the peel with sugar. All right, so after you've zested your lemon, I'm just going to set that aside for just a minute. And I want to begin to mix together my ingredients. The muffin method of mixing is one of the ones I like the best, and the reason why is I don't have to get an electric mixer out for this, and I feel like it's just so much easier that way. Basically, the muffin method means taking all the liquid ingredients, taking all the dry ingredients, and combining them together. And I'm just going to use simple tools for this, so it's going to be very quick and simple to do. In fact, if you've ever made a pancake batter, you've basically used the muffin method of mixing. All right, so I'm going to take a medium-sized bowl. Don't need a really big one because I'm only going to make about 6 or 7 muffins. And to this, I'm going to add all of my liquid ingredients. I have 1 egg and a teaspoon of vanilla, a half a cup of cooking oil. This can really be any kind. The recipe called for vegetable oil, but I have canola here. I think vegetable oil maybe gives a little bit specialer taste, particularly if you're going to eat the muffins for breakfast. You could even use a corn oil, but I sort of just keep canola oil as a standard. Again, be sure to always scrape everything and get as much out as possible. I'm going to add some milk to this. I have 1/3 cup of whole milk. Now you could go ahead and use a low-fat or non-fat milk in it if you wanted to, but it won't be quite as rich. Doesn't mean it won't be tasty, it just won't have the same amount of fat in it. I'm gonna add the sour cream. You can also use yogurt in this if you'd prefer to be a little bit on the lighter side. I'm going to give this a little bit of a stir up to break up that egg. All right, next I'm going to add the sugar and the zest. It's almost like a little bit of a dump cake. Once you get everything ready, you can kind of just mix it together. And then finally, I want to mix all of my dry ingredients in. But I'd like to sift them. I find that if you sift dry ingredients together, there's a lot less mixing in the end, and then you will avoid getting what we know is tunneling, which is elongated holes in the muffin, and it's much tougher to eat. You want to have a nice tender product when you're done. So to this, I'm adding 1 1/4 cups all-purpose flour, a half a teaspoon of salt, and a half a teaspoon of baking powder. I'm just going to tap it in. Alrighty. You can mix it one of two ways. You can mix it with the rubber scraper, or you can go with the wire whisk. I'm going to go with the wire whisk. I just don't want to over mix it too much, and be mindful that it is going to be a little on the thicker side. It's not going to be as thin as, say, a pancake batter or a waffle batter. You're going to have a little bit more substance to this. All right. And you can see there's still a few little lumps in there. It's okay. You actually want to see a few small lumps. If you know you can see a few small lumps, then you know you haven't over mixed it, and then you know you're going to have a more tender product. So finally, we're going to add the poppy seeds. We can't have lemon poppy seed muffins without the poppy seeds. I'm just going to fold them in gently. Folding over and into itself. Folding over and into itself. All right. Now, all that's left for me to do is divide my batter up amongst the muffin pan. I'm going to start with 1 scoop each, and then I'll probably go around and top off. So it does seem like there's a little bit extra batter than I had anticipated. And I don't want to overfill these, because if I overfill them, what's going to happen is it's going to become one sort of lemon poppy seed loaf, and it's not going to look real pretty. And what will ultimately happen is, instead of having those nice round muffin tops, we'll have almost like square ones. So I have another muffin liner here, and I'm just going to go ahead and fill it. I think we'll be better off that way. And then with the small amount that's remaining, I'll just go ahead and top off just slightly, making sure they're nice and full. Make sure that you get all of the goodies out of the bowl. No reason to waste it. I'm going to scrape every little last bit out. Alrighty, I'm going to go ahead and put these in the oven for about 20 to 22 minutes and until I can insert a toothpick and it comes out nice and dry. So it's been about 25 minutes. I'm going to test the muffins and see if they're ready to go. Insert toothpick, and you can see that nothing comes out on it, so they're all good to go. Let them cool completely to room temperature, and then prepare the glaze. All right, so we're back. We let the lemon poppy seed muffins cool to room temperature. It took about 20 to 30 minutes. I didn't really keep time. I honestly went for a little walk around the neighborhood and came back. And now I'm good and hungry to have a delicious muffin. They're just not going to be the same unless we top them off with some delicious glaze. So it's a 2-ingredient process here. Powdered sugar, 1.5 cups. And if you'll remember that lemon that I zested earlier with the microplane, I'm going to go ahead and juice that. I'm going to mix them together and make a delicious glaze. All right, I'm going to put a little bit of elbow grease into that to get it all out of the lemon. I wish you could smell it because boy, does that smell wonderful. It's so refreshing, especially when we're stuck inside. I'm going to mix the juice in with the powdered sugar. Now, if you didn't have a fresh lemon, you really could omit the zest from the muffin recipe. Instead, you could add a little bit of lemon extract to bring that lemony flavor together. And additionally, if you didn't have a fresh lemon, you could just use regular bottled juice to make the glaze. Also, some people like to add a little bit pinch of yellow color, a little bit of lemon yellow color to the glaze to make it really stand out. I tend not to do that because I just like to keep it as natural as possible. All right, just a little bit more to mix in. You can see you've got a nice thick consistency. You don't want it too thin or it's just all going to run off the muffin. If when you're mixing it you find that it's a little too much on the thin side, you can add a little bit more powdered sugar in to thicken it up. And I'm just getting the lumps out. You can go as heavy or as light as you like on the glaze. I'm going to go a little bit heavier, I think. I'm feeling a little bit adventurous today. I'm just going to spoon it on. You could go back and forth and just make streaky lines across it. But we love some sugar in this house, so we're gonna like it nice and glazed heavy. And I think the white color really makes it stand out more. At this point, if I had some fresh lavender leaves, little blossoms, I could add something to it. It would be awesome at a spring or summer tea party or just breakfast in the morning with your hot tea or coffee. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and put them right onto a plate for serving, but ideally you could go ahead and just let them cool, continue to cool and let the glaze harden slightly before you plate them up. All right, we have it, glazed lemon poppy seed muffins. Thanks for joining us.